Punisher Season 2 marks another success in the Netflix Marvel series, with better characters, an ending that concludes in a satisfying way, and more Punisher. However, the season suffers from underdeveloping characters and at times a stale plot. Welcome guys, it's Mario, and Punisher Season 2 was something I enjoyed watching. I want to tell you why, as well as let you know what to look out for to see if it's something you would like or avoid it. Don't worry, this is spoiler free. Season 2 had a great start with episode 1, so much so the first episode is my favorite. Now, this isn't to say the season goes downhill from here. The first episode tells so much of the story and what the rest of the season is going to look like, without coming off as cheesy or heavy-handed. Frank feels lost in this world. He is a traveling nomad who doesn't care to settle in, and almost seems like he doesn't want to settle due to fear of his old life or unwilling to want to move past it. Really, the season is him accepting who he is, but also allowing others to love him. It's hard to show these emotions with a character like Frank because he's supposed to be a strong, silent type who rarely ever shares his feelings, but I found that they did Frank justice in this department, to the point where I stopped seeing him as the Punisher and more as a person that was dealt a hand and he's doing the best he can with it. Season 2 follows its trend with most of these characters, however, a lot of the supporting cast gets left behind due to the long narrative. The season starts to tread downhill when you head towards the middle. Now, in my opinion, this is the same problem most of the other Marvel Netflix shows suffer from. The plot can become stale and at some parts boring. However, a majority of the time, the ending pays off. This is because we spend so much time with each character, and that inevitably works it out. So asking to cut the show down at the risk of losing the connection I have with each character, it doesn't seem worth it. But for real, it can get pretty dull. The show does well at making sure the plot stays exciting, giving us treats here and there, making you engage through and through. Frank, this time around, has multiple enemies going against him. We see them make their own path where Frank feels lost. A villain has a home, something to fight for, and when Frank doesn't know what to do with himself, another villain has conviction to follow his dream. These parallels were done so subtle, and I respect that, because as the protagonist is up against these bosses like a video game, and it's more about Frank Castle finding the hero within. Again, awesome job humanizing the hero this season, but the villains, well, fell stale in the middle of the plot, to the point where you almost feel like one of them gets forgotten. Now, I gotta end on a good note. The choreographing is top-notch. John Bernthal? I really hope I'm saying his name right. The gentleman who plays Frank Castle does his own stunts, and it pays off. I love seeing the Punisher getting into these really gritty fights. I also enjoy how it's got a die-hard theme of Frank keeping all his wounds throughout the season, though he kind of Supermans his way past his injuries, so it's easy to forget he has them. Either way, the gunplay, fight scenes, and creativity they use for each fight makes for some phenomenal moments, and at times is not for the faint of heart. You've been warned. Punisher Season 2 is a roller coaster. It starts off great and has a low point, but overall you're going to enjoy the ride. If you are a fan of Marvel Netflix shows, stop waiting, go check it out, and if you are new to the series, don't worry too much about starting in Season 2. I feel as if this season is redundant to the first one. It's still an origin story, but I highly recommend going back and watching the first one. Overall, I'd give Punisher Season 2 a 7.5. It's good, but not every moment is gripping. I love the journey that Frank went on, and I hope you guys do too. Please support me by liking this video, subscribe below. If you have already seen The Punisher, let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you haven't, tell me your favorite superhero. Follow me at the links in the description. Also, check out the podcast Player 1 and 2. It's something I've been working on with a friend, and we talk about video games weekly. We go around about the news, and we also talk about some topics that we like to share our opinion on. And like always, guys, play nice. Until next time.